welcome to this online class. My name is Nicole. I'm going to take you through an hour flow. So it's going to be a little bit heavy on the wrists. It's a bit of a stronger flow. I invite you to take up the challenge and see how you go. Let's start with just kind of waking up the wrists, just moving the arms or hands, should I say, in circles around in one direction. Maybe even ball up the fists so it feels a little bit tighter, and change direction, go the other way. And in terms of aids today, I'll invite you to have 2 blocks if you have them, if you can't quite touch your toes. Otherwise, I mean, you don't really need blocks. You can always use your shin, which is one of the poses that I'm going to introduce today, which is a pyramid. Otherwise, it should be okay. Just shake out the hands, interlace the fingers, and just create a figure 8, moving in one direction, moving in the other direction. Give the hands a bit of a shake, and then we're going to come into tabletop. So if you have a block, just move it out of the way. Let's have our hands underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers so they're nice and wide, and have the knees underneath the hips. And then just start to lift the heels of the hands up so that we're working into the fingers. And if you want a little bit more, tuck the chin and push the spine up towards the ceiling. And if this is too heavy on the wrists, feel free to bring the hands a bit closer in towards the knees so less weight is into them. And just a few more lifts just to wake up the forearms, the wrists and the fingers. And come back to your tabletop if you moved, and then just create a circle moving the shoulders in one direction and a circle in the other direction, and I invite you to feel into all parts of the hands. So as the weight is shifting around, feel into all parts of the hands, the fingers, but namely the index fingers. So the index fingers, we always forget to push into them, and those are really important when we find ourselves upside down or in any sort of arm balance. Let us take a push through the hands, lifting the knees off the floor. So make sure that your toes are tucked. Lift the knees off the floor. And again, invitation to tuck through the chin and maybe push the spine up towards the ceiling. Imagine my hand is on your back and you're pushing my hand up towards the ceiling or away from you. Stay here just for 2. Start to contract through the belly for 1. And then start to walk the feet back, coming into a plank. So keep your hips nice and low. And we're going to lower all the way down, belly to floor or belly to mat, to the count of 5. Wait. Don't start yet. All right, let's go. Bending through the elbows for 5. Slowly lowering further down. 4. For 3. For 2, 1. And then lowering all the way down. Bring the tops of the feet down, glue the legs together. With the breath in, can you peel the chest up off the floor? And release with the exhale. Keep the elbows tucked all the way in, and maybe taking the hands off the floor for the next one. So breath in, and slowly releasing down. Tuck the toes, lift up onto the knees, and then slowly lift up into your first downward dog. Feel free to move the feet about hip width apart and then start to pedal them out. Bending through one knee and then the other. Don't forget your fingers. Make sure that you're pushing through your index fingers as you draw your chest closer in towards the thighs. Maybe even moving the hips from side to side. Maybe even bring the tops of the feet down one by one. Working into them as well. Now the breath is one of the most important things in your yoga practice or your yoga flow. So let's pay attention to that and bring some focus to it. Let's take a deep breath in all together through the nose. Hold it at the top. Keep your lungs full. And then open the mouth, let it out. Let's do 2 more like that. Breath in through the nose. Hold. Open the mouth, let it out. And the last one, breath in. Hold. And let it out. Come high onto the toes with your breath in. And release the heels down with the breath out. High into the toes, breath in. And release them down, breath out.
Keep your legs as straight as you can for as long as you can. High into the toes, breath in. And slowly walk or tiptoe yourself all the way to the top of the mat. Try to keep the legs as straight as you can all the way to the top. Move the feet about hip-width apart and then bring your hands to your elbows. Now we can bring a slight bend to the knees, finding your forward fold. Maybe even a sway from left to right. That might be nice to just relieve the spine a little bit. Make sure that your head is heavy. Don't keep any tension there. So just a very slight tuck of the chin. Maybe a few yeses and nos just to make sure that it's released. Keep breathing. Invitation to continue here, otherwise release the arms down and then take them around behind the back, interlacing the fingers. Bring the palms or the heels of the hands together and then just finding a little bit more of an openness, stretching, maybe straightening one, maybe straightening the other leg. Moving the hands from side to side. And gently release the hands if you took that bind behind you. Walk the hands up the shins. As you open the chest and lengthen through the legs, take a breath in. And then exhale, relieve it all the way down. 2 more like that. Walk the hands up the shins, breath in. And relieve yourself down, back, breath out. And the last one, walk the hands up the shins, breath in. And find a forward fold, breath out. Let's straighten through the body, vertebrae by vertebrae, eventually taking the shoulders back. Once you're up, creating circles backwards with the shoulders. And moving the shoulders forwards. And then the next time they're up and towards the ears, hold them there, take a breath in. And release them down with a breath out. One more like that, breath in. And release with the breath out. And take a breath in and take the arms up to the ceiling. Find a forward fold, hinge from the hips, breath out. Walk the hands up the shins, breath in. And then place the hands down with your breath out. Step with the right foot to the back of the mat. Drop the right knee down. Anjaneyasana, let's lift both hands up towards the ceiling. Bring the palms to meet. And then slowly take them around behind the head as you bend through the arms. Stay here for the breath in. Stay for the breath out. Straighten through the arms, release them down to the floor. And then as you lift the back knee, step up back to the top of the mat. Breath in, halfway lift. And release with the exhale. Hands reach for the ceiling, breath in. Palms meet, and let's start draw them down to the heart with the exhale. Hands reach, inhale. Find a forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift in. Hands come down, stepping the left foot back and we're dropping the left knee down. Anjaneyasana, lift both hands up to the ceiling. Allow the palms to meet at the top and slowly draw them down behind the head. Keep your chest open, maybe open through the throat as well. Inhale. And as you exhale, release. Inhale, take the hands back up to the ceiling and down to the floor, meeting the mat as you exhale. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knees, step up to the top of the mat, halfway lift in, and find a forward fold as you exhale. Hands reach up to the ceiling, breath in. Straight back down into a forward fold as you exhale. Either to the shins or keep them on the floor with the hands, breath in. Hands come down, step the right foot back to the back of the mat. Push through the left foot, find your crescent lunge, taking both hands up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring them straight back down to frame that left foot. Step up to the top of the mat, halfway lift, breath in. Release with the breath out. Hands reach for the ceiling, breath in. Forward fold, breath out, chest meets the thighs. Halfway lift in. Hands come down, step the left foot to the back of the mat. Push through the right foot, crescent, breath in. And as you exhale, release the hands down to the floor. This time we're stepping the right foot back to a downward dog, pushing the hips back and up. And stay there for the exhale. Inhale, shift the shoulders forward, find plank, and then dip through the knees, bend through the elbows, finding kind of like a turbo dog.
push back up straight, arms straight, legs, breath in. And as you exhale, come all the way to lie flat on the floor. Glue the legs together, tops of the feet down, no hands, baby cobra. And as you exhale, release, tuck the toes. Inhale, come to your knees. Downward dog as you exhale. Allow the right leg to lift to the ceiling. And then just slowly bend through the knee and open the hip. As you find openness here, try and keep both shoulders aligned to the front of the mat. Stay for another 2. Keep breathing. Can you come higher onto that left toe? And then slowly wind that right foot all the way to the outside of the right hand at the top of the mat. Just move the hips backwards and forwards, finding a bit of fluidity here. Now this is where your blocks may become handy. We're going to come and find a lizard, so you can choose to have your forearms or elbows on the blocks. This might make it a little bit more accessible. Otherwise, feel free to drop that back knee and draw your chest down, finding depth. Pause here for 2. Pause for 1. Tuck through the back toes, lift the back knee, and we're going to slowly walk the hands back as we straighten or lengthen through that right leg, finding your pyramid. So this is the only time, or maybe the second only time, that you'll need the block. Choice to stay here, or you can use your shin as a little bit of leverage to find yourself a little bit more height before dropping into your depth. Otherwise, blocks are available, or the floor. Staying for 2. For 1, bend through that right knee, place both hands down, and then sweep that right leg back up to the ceiling with the breath in. As you exhale, place it down, back of the mat, downward dog. Allow the left leg to lift to the ceiling. And slowly bending through that knee, open out the hip. Just watch the shoulders. Staying for 2. For 1, can you lift higher onto the right toes? And then step that left foot all the way to the top of the mat on the outside of the left hand. A few little movements backwards and forwards with the hips. And then your choice of either dropping the back knee or just placing the elbows onto a block. Maybe finding more depth. Staying here for another 2. Another 1. Straighten through the arms, tuck the back toes if not already, and then lift the back knee up. Walk the hands back or keep them there, but lengthen through that left leg. Once you've found your wider pyramid, pause. Maybe even taking a bit of a halfway lift and releasing with the out breath, finding a bit more depth. It's super early in the class, so please, no expectations to lengthen or straighten through that left leg, which we shouldn't be doing anyway. We should keep a slight micro bend in that anyway. So let's just pause here for 2. 1, start to bend through the knee, hands come down to the floor. Sweep the left foot back up to the ceiling into your 3-legged, and then place it down to the floor into a downward dog. Stay here, or optional flow. Let's float the shoulders forward, breath in. Knees can come down or keep them raised, come halfway down, chaturanga. Keep those elbows tucked all the way in. Open up with your back bend. And find downward dog as you exhale. Staying here just for 2. Staying for 1 before we lift our right leg up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in here and then step that foot forward, top of the mat, in between the hands. Find crescent lunge, lifting both hands up towards the ceiling. Pause for 2. For 1, we're going to drop our left heel down, open out the arms, and find your warrior 2. So here, we want to keep that right knee aligned above the right ankle. Our hips are nice and low, our shoulders are relaxed. Lean forward, flip the right palm, reverse inhale. And as you exhale, can you slowly start to lengthen through the right leg, maybe even lift the right toes off the floor. Stay here for 2. For 1, drop the toes down if you lifted them. Windmill the arms forward, and then take the right arm down, left arm up, triangle pose. In your triangle pose again, blocks may become handy. Otherwise, using your core to stay there.
Alright, we're going to release the left arm and take it back, and then create circles as you move it forward, reach, and around all the way back. So just creating a few more circles as you take it around. Just working into that left shoulder. The next time it is forward, place it down on the mat, bend through the right knee, find a touchdown twist, taking the right hand up to the ceiling. Pause for 2. For 1. This is where our wrists are going to come into work. Push through the left hand. Make sure that that left shoulder is above the left wrist as we shift the weight and take that right foot and place it on top of the left foot. Make sure the hips are nicely raised in our side plank. Keep reaching with that right hand. Maybe even taking the right foot off the left leg. If you're here, take a breath in as you take that right arm forward, reach. And as you exhale, bring top elbow to top knee to touch. Inhale, open. And as you exhale, bring it into touch. The last one, inhale, open. As you bring it into touch, keep it bent, place it on top of the left knee. Bring the right hand down, flip yourself over. So we're in like a tree pose, taking the left hand up to the ceiling. Pause. And then bring the left hand down. That was just to relieve the left hand. Find tree pose with the right hand up. And then slowly bring it back down, and we're going to find fallen triangle, kicking that right leg out to the front. Pause here for 2. For 1, drop the hips down, finding a wide-legged forward fold, seated. And then just walk the hands forward, reaching down as far forward as you can. Make sure that you're flexing through the toes. Stay for 2. For 1, as you can see, I've got my back to you. I'm going to work myself around so that eventually we're facing you on the other side. Place the right hand down. Slight bend through that right, through the left knee. Slight bend through the right. And we're going to push through that right hand. Bring the right elbow to touch the right elbow. Right knee to touch the right elbow. And then place the shin down perpendicular to the mat. Gate pose. Take a big breath in as we bring both hands up to the ceiling. As you exhale, bring the left hand down and reach the right hand over. Make sure your hips are facing forward or pushing forward as if you're against the wall. Inhale, both hands up. Take the right hand down and take the left and reach to the front of the room. Pause here for 2. Pause for 1. Option here to place the right hand flat and lift the left foot off the floor. Inhale. And top elbow to top knee touch. Inhale, stretch and open. Top elbow to top knee touch. Last time, inhale, open. And then a bend through that top knee and maybe grabbing that foot, opening out the chest, opening out that left shoulder, maybe even gazing up towards the ceiling. Stay for 2. Stay for 1. Release the foot if you have it. We're going to bring the foot down to the back of the mat. Bring the left hand down. Right foot reaches up to the ceiling. Breath in. And as you exhale, step it forward at the top of the mat. Bring your weight into your right foot, standing split, lifting the left foot to the ceiling. Pause here for 2. For 1, we're not staying here long. Release the left foot down to the floor. Toe heel the feet out and find your ragdoll. Hands to the elbows. Maybe a little sway from left to right. Release the elbows down to the floor. Halfway lift, breath in. Release with the breath out. Let's do 2 more like that. Breath in, halfway lift. And release, breath out. And the last one, halfway lift. The hands come down, stepping both feet back to your downward dog. Now move the shoulders forward as we find a flow. Breath in. Maybe no knees. Chaturanga, come halfway down. Flip the feet, upward dog, and downward dog as you exhale. We're going to draw the knees down to the floor. I'm not going to child's pose, not yet. Bring the forearms down, and then interlace the fingers. Just give the wrists a little bit of a circle or figure 8, moving one way, and then the other. A little bit of a shake, And let's move on to the other side.
So the hands come down, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Allow the left leg to lift up to the ceiling. And as you open that knee, bend through the knee, open the hip. Pause. Straighten the hip, square the hip, straighten the leg, and then step that left foot forward, top of the mat.
Crescent lunge, lift both hands to the ceiling, breath in. And drop the right heel, open up warrior 2 with the breath out. Pause here for 2, for 1. Once you found that alignment, reach forward, flip the left palm, reverse inhale. And as you exhale, can you start to lengthen through that left leg? Maybe even lift through the toes. Stay for 2, for 1. Start to drop the toes down and windmill the arms forward and then down, finding your triangle pose, Trikonasana. Stay for 2 here. Stay for 1. Please make sure you're using blocks if you need to. Create those circles with the right arm moving around so it goes back and comes through, reaching forward, goes back. Next time you're coming down, place the right hand down, bend through the left knee, touch, twist, reach that left arm up to the ceiling. Now weight comes into the right hand as we sweep that left foot all the way back to a side plank. Pause here, really pushing through that right hand, reaching the left arm. Now you can stay here or lift the left leg, reaching the left arm forward, breath in. Exhale, bring the top elbow to top knee. Inhale, reach. And exhale, bring them in. Inhale, reach one more time. And as you exhale, bend through the left knee. The foot comes on top of the right leg. Keep it light. Bring the left hand down, just for a little bit of a rest on the right wrist. Take the right hand up to the ceiling. So in like a tree, but we're keeping the foot connected. Slowly bring yourself back down, lifting or turning yourself over so your left foot is on top of the right leg. Pause for 2. And then slowly left hand comes down, sweep that left foot through towards the front fallen triangle, keeping the right hand up towards the ceiling. Slowly dropping the hips down. See, I'm facing you now. And then finding a forward fold, taking the hands forward. And as you slowly release, walking the hands back, slight bend in the right foot, slight bend in the left. Left hand comes down. And as you push through the left hand, can you bring your left knee to touch the left elbow? And then slowly placing the shin down, right hand reaches to the ceiling. Finding gate pose. Inhale, take both hands up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, right hand comes down onto the right thigh, left hand reaches over. Inhale, take both hands up. And then left hand comes down to the floor, right hand reaches over. Push the hips forward, pause. As you bring the left hand flat, can you take the right foot up? Inhale. As you exhale, top elbow to top knee touch. Inhale, stretch. And as you exhale, bring it in. Last time, inhale, stretch and open. And then bend through the top knee, maybe grabbing that foot or ankle and opening out. Staying for 2. Staying for 1. Slowly releasing that foot to the back of the mat. Bring the right hand down. Step your left foot to the top of the mat. And then step up to your standing split, taking the right leg up to the ceiling. Stay for 2 here. And slowly draw the right foot down, find a forward fold. Maybe even grabbing your elbows. Maybe even swaying from left to right. Gently releasing the elbows, uncurling the spine, coming to Tadasana. Standing nice and tall, palms are facing the front. I hope you all are as hot as I am. It's really hot in this room. I feel like I'm sweating a lot. Staying here, invitation to close down the eyes. Now, if it's within your practice, please have a bit of inspiration, a quote, maybe something that keeps you going in the morning, in the evening, something that keeps you coming back to the mat, a goal, allowing whatever that is to sink in. Eventually taking a breath as you open up the eyes, taking the hands to the ceiling. Allow the palms to meet and draw them to the heart as you exhale. Inhale, take the hands up. Find a forward fold, chest to thighs. Halfway lift in. Hands come down, step the feet back to your downward dog. And then as you breathe in, float the shoulders forward, find plank. And we're going to lower down to the count of 4. Slowly lowering down to the count of 3. Keep the elbows tucked in. 2 and 1. Releasing all the way down. Keep the toes tucked. Keep the hands where they are. Because we're gonna now push back up to the count of 3. Only 3. Back to a plank. So push through the hands. Lift the knees, thighs off the floor. And then 3. Push up. 2. Push a little bit higher. 1, push all the way up, bend through the knees, take the hips up, find downward dog. Slowly bring the knees down so they're just hovering off the mat, and then take the knees wide, touch the edges of the mat, and then bring the knees in together. Allow the knees to touch, take them wide again, place them down on the floor, and find child's pose as you draw the chest down, releasing the forehead to the floor. Invitation to bring the forearms down, allow the elbows to touch, and then bring the hands together in prayer and draw them behind the head. You might have to draw the elbows a little bit more in, closer towards the ears, as you find a little bit of a stretch through the shoulders and pushing the mat away with the elbows. Slowly releasing the hands back down to the floor. And releasing the head up, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, tucking the toes, lifting the knees so they're hovering off the floor, walking the hands forward, and then bending through the elbows. So bent knees, bent elbows, pause, and then straighten everything, finding a downward dog. Feel free to pedal the feet, just pausing here for 2 breaths. Pausing for 1, and then with an inhale, take the right foot up to the ceiling, bend through the knee and open the hip with the breath out. Straighten the legs, square the hip, breath in, and then take that foot, step it forward, top of the mat with the breath out. Inhale, crescent lunge, lifting both hands. Find a warrior 2, dropping the left heel with breath out. Reach, flip the palm, reverse inhale, straighten through the right leg, and as you exhale, find triangle pose, Trikonasana. Take a circle back with the left arm, taking it back, and then taking it forward. Take it back once more. Next time it's forward, place it down, bend through the right knee. Touch, twist, lifting the right arm up to the ceiling, breath in. As you exhale, Cleopatra, dropping onto the heels of the hand, the blades of the feet, reaching the right arm back. Inhale, take the right arm back forward and take it back with the exhale. Inhale forward, and this time as you take it back, take the right leg with you, maybe keeping it raised as you exhale. Inhale, the right arm goes back, keep the hips lifted, knee to elbow as you exhale. Inhale, open. And as you exhale, right hand comes down, bend through the right knee, twist over, finding your tree pose, taking the left arm to the ceiling. Left arm comes down, tree pose with the right foot lifting. And as you exhale, right arm comes down, fallen triangle, kicking it out. Maybe this time keeping it hovering. Inhale, left hand comes down, right foot reaches to the ceiling. And as you exhale, step it forward, top of the mat. lift onto your right foot, standing split with the breath in. And can you bring your left knee to the back of the right knee on the exhale? It's a little bit of a curtsy. Inhale, straighten. And as you exhale, bring it in. Inhale, take it all the way back up. And as you exhale, we're dropping the foot down, finding a little bit of a curtsy. Stay here or bring the hands in prayer. Bring them to the heart. Take your right elbow to the outside, your left elbow to the outside of the right knee and find a twist as you open up. Staying for 2, staying for 1. Slowly untwisting, finding a forward fold top of your mat. Toe heel the feet out to the edges, turn them 45 degrees and find your yogic squat, drawing the palms into the heart center. Pausing here, maybe lifting a little bit out of that, so we're actually doing a little bit of work. Staying for 2, for 1. Invitation to release the right hand down and take that left arm up to the ceiling. Stay here or find a half bind, taking it behind you. If you're there, maybe you'd like to find a full bind, taking the right arm around that right knee. Pause here for 2. For 1, release the bind, swapping over, left hand comes down, right arm reaches. Stay here or take it around in a half bind, maybe a full bind, taking the left arm around. Stay for 2. For 1, release the bind, hands come down, lift the hips and then toe heel the feet in so they're all the way in together, big toes touch, slight gap between the heels. Find a halfway lift breath in. Bend through the knees, lift the heels off the floor and come all the way so the hips rest on the back heels. Stay here, or a little bit of a challenge, bring the hands to prayer and we're going to slowly bring your hands to your chest as we lift through the knees, keeping ourselves on our tippy toes, all the way up as if we're in an elevator, going all the way to the top floor. Once you're all the way up, straight legs, take an inhale, reach the arms. And then sweep them forward and back, finding drinking bird, keeping the chest open. Sweeping them back up, take a breath in, reach. And as you exhale, heels come down, forward fold, chest to thighs. Inhale, halfway lift. Your flow, downward dog. So stepping, walking, jumping back, however you choose. Eventually flowing through a flow, bending through the elbows, a backward bend, and downward dog. Take the left foot up to the ceiling, breath in. Open out through the hip and bend through the knee with the breath out. Straighten and square with the breath in, and as you exhale, step it forward, top of the mat. Reach the arms, inhale, crescent lunge. And find your warrior 2, dropping the right heel, breath out. Reach the left arm forward, flip the palm, inhale, reverse, straightening through that left leg, maybe even lifting the toes. And as you exhale, windmill the hands down, reaching forward, finding triangle pose, taking the right arm up. Circles with the right hand, moving back and then forwards. Back and then forward. Second time, place it down onto the floor. Touch twist, taking the left arm up to the ceiling. Cleopatra as we reach it back and exhale. Inhale, reach it forward. Reach it back with the exhale. Inhale, reach it forward. Keep a planting of the right hand, and as you exhale, take the left foot back, keeping it raised. Inhale, reach the left hand forward. Top knee to top elbow as you exhale. Inhale, open up. And then the left hand comes down, bend through the left knee, flip yourself over, keeping the left foot connected to the right knee. Take the right arm up. Flip yourself back over, finding tree pose. Keep that left arm reaching. And then as you flip back over, place the left hand down, kicking the left foot out to your fallen triangle. Stay for 2. For 1, the right hand comes down and we're stepping the left foot forward, top of the mat. Standing split, lift the right foot up to the ceiling. Pause here. And then as you exhale, right knee to the back of the left thigh. Now you can always make this harder by taking the hands off the floor, bringing them into prayer. Inhale, straighten out. And as you exhale, back knee touch. Inhale, reach. And as you exhale, curtsy, placing the foot down. Right elbow to the back of the left knee, finding your twist. Pause for 2. Pause for 1. And slowly releasing, once again finding a forward fold top of your mat. Maybe even grabbing opposite elbows, finding ragdoll. Maybe even a sway, feels good. Moving from left to right, left to right. Releasing the hands, toe heeling the feet out to hip width, dropping the hips, finding your yogic squat again. This time, option to stay here, sitting high, nice and high, or placing the hands down, finding crow. So the hands are just wider than shoulder width, index fingers are parallel. Our knees are going to go into the backs of the triceps or the backs of the elbows. And as we chaturanga the arms and lean forward, the feet lift and the knees stay onto that little shelf that we create. Stay here for 2. For 1. If you ever jump back, jumping back and flowing. Otherwise, just walking the feet back and finding your flow, eventually meeting in downward dog. We're going to have a little bit of an intermission again. 3 options. Stay here as you are, or draw the knees down together. Bring the tops of the feet down and taking the hands with the palms facing up at your side. Bring the forehead down to rest on the mat. Option 3 is to, in your downward dog, just drop your forearms down, maybe walk the feet in, finding a dolphin. So taking your choice, choosing your option, making that choice good. Staying just for another 5, another 4, 3, nearly done. 2 and 1. Slowly, wherever you are, we're going to make our way lying flat down onto the mat. We're going to take the tops of the feet down and take your right arm out to the right hand side at shoulder height. Have the palm face down, and we're just going to roll ourselves over, pushing through that left hand. Keep the throat open. An option to stay here, or maybe bend through that left knee, place the sole of the foot down on the outside of the right leg. Option to stay there, or maybe you want to take your left arm around, rotate the shoulder, and take the arm into a half bind. Last option is to maybe grab the ankle of the left foot with the left hand, and as you open out the hips, push through the hand. Stay for 2. For 1. Release the foot if you have it. We're going to slowly roll back onto our bellies, and then take your left arm, reach it forward to the front of the room, lift your left shoulder slightly, and then we're going to slip the right arm through, thread it through so you're drawing your right shoulder down, draw the right ear down, and then take your left knee, keep it connected to the floor, bend through the knee and lift it all the way towards the left elbow. Once you're there, slowly peel open the left arm to open the chest up to the ceiling. Now your left hand may not reach the floor. You may still be hanging out over here. That's totally fine. Stay here just for 2. Stay for 1. And slowly rolling back over. So windmilling that left arm back down. We're going to straighten through the left leg, sweep that right arm out, place it hand underneath the right shoulder. Take the left arm, take it out to the left hand side, palm facing down. Use your right hand to push yourself open, and we're doing exactly the same as we did the other side. So whatever option you chose, taking that here, so half bind, or maybe grabbing the foot and opening out the hip.
keeping the throat open. Staying here for 3. Staying for 2. Staying for 1. Slowly releasing the foot. Roll back down onto your belly. Straighten the right arm forward, keeping a slight gap underneath the shoulder so you can thread your left arm through and under. Bring the left shoulder down and then bend through the right knee. Draw it up towards that left hand. And then once you're there, start to open out through that right arm, right shoulder as you wind it over and you open the chest up towards the ceiling. Staying here for 3. Staying for 2. And 1. Slowly rolling back over as the right hand comes down, straighten through the right knee. Come onto your belly and bring one hand on top of the other, allowing your forehead to rest on your hands. We call this crocodile pose. Maybe a slight sway of the hips from left to right as you release some tension there. Preparing for our next pose. Maybe even bending through the knees and windshield wiping the feet from side to side. That might feel good. So we can work into our back bends. Let's find seal. So placing the feet back down if you raise them, bringing the forearms down to the floor. As you open out the chest, finding a nice slight back bend. If you'd like more, push through the mat, finding seal as you straighten through the arms. Stay here for 3, for 2, for 1, and then slowly, if you raise up, bring yourself back down, bring the hands once again on top of each other, open out the arms and rest the forehead down. If you chose to shake the hips last time, go ahead. If you chose to bend the knees, take the feet up and windshield wiper them. Again, go ahead. Staying here just for another 3. Another 2. And another 1. And just slowly release the hands away from underneath the forehead. We're going to take the arms down by our sides with the palms facing down. And rest the chin down on the floor to start off with so we're not using any unnecessary energy. And then draw the legs together, glue them as if they're one, point through the toes. We're going to raise just the feet off the floor, then the knees, then the thighs. As you push through the navel, can you then slowly peel the chest up and then take the hands up. Once you've found your locust pose, Shalabhasana, pause here and breathe. Can you find a little bit more of a back bend just for a breath in? And your breath out, release everything down to the floor. And once again, bring your hands one on top of another. Allow the forehead to rest. Now we're going to move through that again. Option to repeat what we just did. Or, if you'd like more, start to bend through the knees. And we're going to grab the ankles with our hands. Make sure, once you've grabbed your ankles, that the knees don't splay apart. So keep them shoulder width apart. And then as you pull and push, pull yourself up. Imagine your bow coming into Dharudasana, our bow pose. Lifting the knees, the chest, keeping the elbows nice and close together. Keeping the knees nice and close together. Breathing for 3, for 2, and gently releasing down. Release the feet. Hands come once again underneath the forehead as you rest it down on the hands. Slowly lifting the forehead off the hands. We're going to roll ourselves onto our backs. And then once you're there, draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. Maybe wrapping the arms all the way around. Invitation to take the shoulders off the floor and maybe give your knees a bit of a kiss. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Release back down. Open out the knees, thread the arms through, grabbing the blades of the feet, finding happy baby. Keep the back of the neck long and the knees draw down to either side of the chest. Maybe even swaying from left to right. That might feel good. Coming back to stillness, pause. Invitation to shut down the eyes, and for the remaining part of the practice, keep them shut. Just listening to my voice as I lead you through. We're going to release the blades of the feet, bring the knees back in together, keep them bent at 90 degrees and take the arms out to the side at shoulder height. Take the knees over to the right hand side, but only 45 degrees. So we're keeping them raised, using our core, maybe even our arms to hold. Hold. Slowly take them back to center and take them over to the left hand side. 45 degrees. Pause. Hold. Hold. And slowly taking them back to center. This time taking them all the way to the right hand side, allowing them to drop. Maybe supporting them with your right hand. Keep both shoulders connected to the floor, and if you'd like to, and you have the space, turning your head to the left-hand side, away from the knees. If you'd like a little bit more here, you can release the knees with your right hand and maybe use your bottom ankle and place it on top of the left knee. So you've got a little bit more of a twist, more weight pushing them down. Just something to play with. If you've chosen to do that, release the foot off the knee and slowly using your core, draw the knees back into center and then take them over to the other side, allowing them to drop. Option to use your left hand to support them. Maybe even turn the head to the right hand side. As we did on the other side, option to release the knees with the left hand and maybe place the bottom ankle on top of the right knee. Finding a bit more weight, pushing it down. Slowly releasing the ankle of the knee, coming back to center. We're going to open out the feet. Keep the soles of the feet together as you draw them down. Finding Supta Baddha Konasana, option to bring one hand and the other onto your body. And slowly releasing. Butterfly pose. You can leave your bike there, honey. I'll move it later. Ah! Watch the camera. Leave your bike there. It moved twice. Lena. I just need another 5 minutes. Thank you. Now we're going to do one more little bit of a core before we release everything down to our Shavasana. So releasing the hands off the chest, let's bring them around behind the thighs. Use them to draw the knees back in together. Once they're in, slowly lift the feet off the floor. And then just start to rock and roll on your spine, drawing yourself slowly up, waking up the body again, eventually catching a high boat.
Maybe even pointing through the toes and doing the hands on either side of the thighs. Pause here. We're going to work through a couple of rapids. Let's straighten through the right leg, flex through the toes, and lean onto the right glute. Maybe even taking that left hand up to the ceiling. We'll find balance. Bring the left hand back, bend through the right knee, point through the toes once again, and then straighten the left leg, flex through the toes, and then slowly lean over, maybe even taking the right hand up. Now you can play with this from one side to the other. Just work out a bit of core, bend through the knee, point through the toes, straighten through the legs and lower the chest so the shoulders are just off the floor, finding low boat. Pause here for 3, 2, and then just bring the knees back into the chest. Give yourself a hug once again, maybe even that little kiss. Bringing the shoulders off the floor and releasing. We're going to take the legs up to the ceiling. Option here, Viparita Karani. You can have your legs straight up, maybe even your hands as support, taking the hips off the floor. Stay here, or maybe taking a block underneath the hips. Choice for a shoulder stand if you want something more active. Releasing the hips up, reaching the feet up towards the ceiling. If you want a little bit something more restorative, option for a bridge, placing a block underneath the hips and taking them up. Maybe if you want an active bridge, keeping the block to the side and taking the hands underneath the hips, interlacing the fingers and walking the shoulders in. So once you've found your pose, pause here for 3, for 2, shoulder standers, finding plow, taking the feet behind the head, and then slowly rolling back down. Everybody else, slowly making your way to your Shavasana. Straightening through the legs, allowing the feet to flop open. Have the arms at your side, palms facing up. Now, because there's an online part, or online video, I don't want you constantly opening your eyes to check if I am still there or if the video is frozen. So your option to shut down the video now, or pause it, or whatever you want to do, close it down and maybe find your own Shavasana for the next 5 minutes or 10. Give yourself the space and it's time to release. It's been a long class. Option to stay with me and trust that technology is going to work, and knowing that I'll let you know when it's time to come out. I'm only going to be here for maybe another 2 or 3 minutes. Staying in your Shavasana, allowing the whole body to release and relax. If you're leaving us now, please have a beautiful remainder of the day. If it's the start of the day, hopefully we'll see you soon. If you're staying with me, just allowing the body to release, become super heavy. start to lengthen your breath. As you bring awareness back to your body, bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Invitation to start to slowly turn your head from side to side. And then creating bigger movements, taking the arms behind the head, inhaling. Maybe knees into chest as you exhale, curling up into a ball. Allow the knees to fall to the left or right. And with the eyes closed, slowly make your way into a seat facing me. Let's bring the palms to meet and draw them into the heart center. Allow the spine to be long and tall. Let's take a deep inhale here together. Long exhale. And draw the palms to meet, or the thumbs to meet the forehead, just like bow in reverence to your practice. Another inhale together. And a long exhale. The light in me sees, it honors, and respects the very same light it sees in each and every one of you. Namaste. Rubbing the palms together before you open your eyes, just creating a little bit of warmth. And place the hands, cup them over the eyes as you blink them open in the darkness, releasing the hands down to the thighs. Thank you very much for following in and following through this practice and making time for yourself and your body, your mind, your soul. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Look out for another post or another flow coming from me, and maybe even see you in the studio. Thanks again. My name is Nicole. See you soon.